Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 29th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap the Monday Night Football game from last night. Then we'll look back at college basketball, NBA, and NHL, and look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. I'll predict the college football playoff rankings. I'll do NFL power rankings, reality TV, because we have time to do it today, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with Monday Night Football. It was a good game last night. One of the more entertaining Monday Nighters of the year from a social media standpoint and competitive game, regardless of what teams' records are. The Steelers come out on top 24-17. Pittsburgh's 4-7, Indy's 4-7-1. Kenny Pickett 20 of 28, 174 yards. And on the ground, 6 for 32. Matt Ryan 22 of 34, 199 yards, a touchdown and the pick. So we'll get more into these teams on the power rankings. Now we'll move on to college basketball. Small window yesterday. A little bit of a more interesting window today, though, because of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Although it was yesterday, too, but there's more interesting games today. UC Davis over BU, 81-70 in overtime. Grambling over Dartmouth, 73-49. Bryant over Farmingham State, 98-44. A&M Commerce over Arlington Baptist, 101-46. Sacred Heart over Western New England, 159. Marist over Columbia, 52-39. Tulane over Yale Monroe, 75-60. Tennessee Martin over McNeese, 86-83. Virginia Tech over Minnesota, 67-57. Southern over Champion Christian, 112-52. Mississippi State over Omaha, 74-54. UTSA over Incarnate Word, 68-62. Number 9, Kansas over Texas Southern, 87-55. Number 11, Arkansas over Troy, 74-61. South Dakota over Mount Mary College, 97-58. Bama A&M over Fisk, 71-55. Milwaukee over Southeast Missouri State, 84-68. Texas Arlington over Howard Payne, 99-41. San Diego over Longwood, 71-68. Pitt over Northwestern, 87-58. Washington over Seattle, 77-66. Cal Poly over Pacific, 62-58. And Nevada over Sam Houston, 78-60. So, best bet. Honestly, I don't remember what I picked for best bet. I know it was like a big line and I was risking a lot. We'll find out as we get there. All right, so tonight's games. 6 o'clock, we can skip VU, Lynchburg, Moorhead State, or Morgan State. 6:30, St. Joseph's, Long Island, Stony Brook. Fox Sports Road, Long Island, St. John's from the Lou. My line's 54.5. And it is let's see here. 31.5. I'm going to lay it with St. John's. Furman App State. My number is Furman 11.5, and it's 8.5. I'll lay the points with Furman. 7 o'clock. Bellarmine at number 19. Kentucky. My line's 43.5, and it is 25.5. I'll lay it. Number 22. Maryland at winless Louisville on ESPN2. My line's Maryland by 14, and it is Maryland by 12.5. Total's 135.5. I'll take the over. The following week is skip Johnson, Florida, Stetson, Trinity Baptist, North Florida, Purdue, Northwest, Central Michigan, Kentucky Christian, Moorhead State, and Toccoa Falls, Winthrop. Okay, next we have UNC Asheville, NC Central. My line's Asheville by 6.5, and it's 1.5. I'll lay the points. SC State and East Carolina. My line's East Carolina by a whopping 37.5, and it's 15.5. I'll lay the points. Albany and American, I have a pick'em. And American's favored by 5.5. Give me Albany getting the points. They're plus 195 outright. I would be willing to throw that in an underdog round robin. Old Dominion and Charleston. My line's Charleston 21.5, and it's 6.5. I'll lay it. UMass and South Florida. My line is UMass by 21. And it's 2.5. I'll lay the points with UMass. Santa Barbara, Duquesne. My line's Duquesne 13. And it's 3.5. I'll lay the points with Duquesne. Brown, Connecticut Central. My line is Brown 10.5. And it is Brown by 4.5. I'll lay the points. Charlotte and Davidson. My line's Davidson 18. And it's 4.5. I'll lay the points with Davidson. Jackson State and Miami of Ohio. My line's Miami of Ohio by 17.5, and it's 4.5. I'll lay the points. Queens and Bowling Green. My line's Bowling Green by 5.5, and it is why don't I see this line? Bowling Green by only 1, so I'm going to lay the 1 with Bowling Green. VMI Presbyterian, my number's VMI 10.5, and it is Presbyterian by 6.5. Wrong team's favorite. Give me VMI plus the 6.5 and plus 215 outright. That's crazy. William and Mary and NC State. My line's NC State by a whopping 30.5. And it's 21.5. I'll lay the points. ESPNU, Penn State, Clemson. My line's Clemson 7.5, and it is Clemson by... Oh, it's a pick'em. But it's Clemson essentially by a half, so I'm going to lay the half with Clemson. A lot of Penn State love. 7:30 on ESPN, Syracuse at number 16, Illinois. My line is Illinois by 17.5. And it's 12.5. I'll lay it with Illinois. 8 o'clock, Norfolk State at number 1, Houston. My line's Houston by 38, and it is 25.5. I'll lay it. Next couple we can skip. Champion Christian College, Nichols, and St. Ambrose, and SIU, Edwardsville. Weber State, Tarleton. My line's Weber by 7.5, and it's Tarleton by 8.5. Give me Weber State getting the 8.5 and plus 285 to win the game outright. Loyola, New Orleans, Louisiana, Bacone, Oral Roberts, Ottawa, Northern Arizona, we can skip. Idaho State, Kansas City. My line is Kansas City by 12.5. And it's 5.5. I'll lay it. North Central, Minnesota, St. Thomas, Minnesota, we can skip. Montana, Southern Miss. My line is Montana by 7, and it's Southern Miss, undefeated Southern Miss by 7.5. Give me Montana getting the 7.5 and plus 245 to win the game outright. Missouri, Wichita State. My line is Missouri 11.5, and it's only 1.5. Oh my God, I'm laying the points. Disrespectful to Missouri. Meanwhile, undefeated Southern Miss is a big number against Montana. 8:30 Fox Sports 1, number 6 Baylor against Marquette. My line is Baylor by 12, and Baylor is giving 6.5. I'll lay the points. Cal State, Northridge, and Boise State at 9. My line's Boise by a whopping 46.5, and it's 19.5. I'm laying the points. Alcorn State, Grand Canyon. My line's Grand Canyon 24, and it's 12.5. I'm laying the points. Westminster, Utah, BYU, we can skip. ESPN 2, Georgia Tech, Iowa. ACC Big Ten Challenge rounds, Iowa 15. And it's 15.5. Total's 149.5. I'll take the over. ESPN U, Wake, Wisconsin. My line's Wisconsin by 5. And it's 5.5. Total's 130.5. I'll take another over. Game of the night, 9:30, ESPN, number 3, Virginia at Michigan. This is a good one. A proven game for Michigan, as They're a 4.5-point home underdogs against Virginia. Total is 130.5, and I'm taking the 4.5. They're plus 162 outright, so give me Michigan to beat Virginia. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, we have UC Irvine at number 24, San Diego State. Mine, San Diego State by 28, and it's 11.5. I'm laying the points. And we don't have to do La Sierra and Bakersfield. Now I'll move on to the NBA. We will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to a 3-game slate for tonight. Sixers over the Hawks, 104-101. Wiz over the Wolves, 142-127. Celtics over the Hornets, 140-105. Nets over the Magic, 109-102. Raps over the Cavs, 188. Pels over the Thunder, 105-101. Nuggets over the Rockets, 129-113. Bulls over the Jazz, 114-107. Suns over the Kings, 122-117. And the Pacers over the Lakers, 116-115. All right, 7 o'clock tonight, you have the Knicks at the Pistons. In my opinion, a must game for the Knicks against a banged-up Pistons team. And the Knicks are giving 5 totals, 224.5. The question is, do I go with the over? Do I lay it with the Knicks? I'm going to take the over in case of a backdoor cover. I project 9 and 228 and 13/20. 7:30 TNT Warriors Mavs. Decent game for TNT, but it would have been sexier if neither of these teams got off to slow starts. The Golden State Warriors are 1.5-point road favorites, so it's 27. I project 2.5 and 225 3/4. I'm going to take the slight under here. And 10 o'clock on TNT, have the Clippers at the Blazers. Blazers are giving 3 totals, 221. I project Clippers by 3.5 total, 216 and 3/5. I'm going to take the Clippers getting the 3 and plus 130 outright. One of these dogs is going to win outright. It might be Dallas. Might be Clips. I don't think it's going to be Detroit. So, give me the Clippers plus the 3 and plus 130 to win this game straight up. All right, now I'll move on to hockey. We'll recap the games from yesterday. Look ahead to the games being played tonight. Devils over the Rangers 5-3. Lightning over the Sabres 6-5 in OT on a game winner by Steven Stamkos. Golden Knights over the Blue Jackets 3-2 in a shootout. Leafs over the Red Wings 4-2. Stars over the Blues 4-1. And the Oilers over the Panthers 4-3 in OT on a game winner by Evan Bouchard. Okay, I did pretty good with picking the games yesterday. I said I was right about the Devils. I was right about the Oilers. I was wrong on the over in the Buffalo-Tampa game, but there's a couple I hit that were close calls. All right, 7 o'clock, you have the Lightning and the Bruins from Boston. The Bruins are a staggering 18-3. This is the team that I can remember on the best start since that Blackhawks team in the lockout. That was just destroying everybody, and then they ultimately won the cup, despite almost losing to the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Final and losing to the Red Wings in the second round that year, back when the Red Wings were in the West. Never will forget that. Bruins are minus 172 home favorites. Lightning plus 142. Over under 6. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Lightning plus 1.5 is minus 164. Boston minus 1.5 is plus 134. 142 is a juicy dog for the Lightning, but I just can't go against the Boston Bruins right now. So I'm going to take them to win in regulation at minus 111. Sharks, Canadians. The Canadians are slight home favorites, minus 111. The Sharks are minus 108 on the road, over under 6.5. Overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 265. Canadians minus 1.5 is plus 210. I'm going to go with the Canadians as a slight home favorite at minus 111. I just don't trust San Jose on the East Coast. Canes, Penguins, that's a big one in that division. Pens are slight home favorites, minus 114. Canes are minus 105, over under 6. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Canes plus 1.5 is minus 660. Penguins minus 1.5 is plus 205. Penguins are desperate. They're similar to the Rangers in my mind, barely over 500 and just not great right now. Rangers are only one game over 500 after last night's loss. Under 500 at home, too. And Pittsburgh's slightly above 500 at home. I'm going to take Pittsburgh out of desperation at minus 114. 7:30, Islanders Flyers, ESPN Plus. The Isles are minus 205, Flyers are plus 168, over under 6, over is minus 102, under is minus 118. Isles minus 1.5 is plus 132, Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 150. I'm going with the under at a juice number. Ducks Preds. Ducks are plus 198, Preds are minus 245, over under 6.5, over is minus 105, under is minus 115. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 122, Preds minus 1.5 is even money. I'm going to go with the over. Ducks are an over team. Avs Jets. Avs minus 128. Jets plus 106. Over under 6. Over is minus 108. Under is minus 112. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 184. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 230. Avs have been somewhat subpar by their standards so far this season, too. Only 25 points for the defending champs. But I'm going to take the over. I think that's an over game. 9 o'clock, you have the Panthers at the Flames. What I predicted as the Stanley Cup Finals before the year. Flames minus 164. Panthers plus 136. Over under 6.5. Over is minus 118. Under is minus 105. Panthers plus 1.5 is minus 180. Flames minus 1.5 is plus 146. Neither of these teams are off the good starts. So weird that all these teams that had high hopes are off to such bad starts. Penguins, Rangers, Panthers, Flames, Avs. But anyway, I'm going to go with the over. 10 o'clock, Capitals, Canucks. Canucks are resurgent. Minus 125 home favorites. Caps are plus 104, over under 6.5. Over is minus 104, under is minus 118. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 250. Canucks minus 1.5 is plus 198. This is another over for me. And then last but not least, the Kraken at the Kings at 10:30. Kings are slight home favorites, minus 122. Kraken plus 102, over under 6. Over is minus 114, under is minus 106. Kraken plus 1.5 is minus 250. Kings minus 1.5 is plus 198. Tough one. I'm going to go with the Kraken out in the road. Plus 102. All right, now I'll move on to the World Cup. We have the Group B and Group A games that will determine pretty much who is in the round of 16. But results from yesterday after we finished recording. So Cameroon and Serbia was a 3-3 draw. Ghana knocked off South Korea 3-2. They had a 3-2 lead when we recorded this show yesterday. Brazil knocks off Switzerland 1-0. And then Portugal over Uruguay 2-0. All right, so 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, you have Ecuador and Senegal. We made picks for these on yesterday's show, but I'm just going to go over them because I have time to go over them. So, Qatar, winless in the World Cup. Netherlands has a win and a draw. Senegal has a win and a loss. And Ecuador a draw and a win. So, Ecuador and Netherlands drew. Ecuador beat Qatar. Senegal beat Qatar. Netherlands beat Senegal. So, Ecuador, Senegal. Ecuador's plus 145, Senegal's plus 210, draw plus 210. Before the World Cup, I predicted Senegal to be in the round of 16. So they have 3 points. I think they're going to get another 3 to get to 6. And then on Fox, you have Netherlands and Qatar. Netherlands minus 490, Qatar's plus 1,100, and draw plus 550. For this one, I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals at plus 154. So Netherlands will end up with 7 points. Senegal I'm going to have with 6. Ecuador 4 and Qatar 0. So advancing will be the Netherlands and Senegal, which would be interesting. All right, 2 o'clock, Fox Sports 1. We have Wales and England, and 2 o'clock on Fox, you have Iran against U.S. So Wales, England. So Wales drew against U.S. and they lost to Iran. England beat Iran and drew against the United States. England's minus 220. Wales is plus 650. Draw plus 320. England's just so much better. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals plus 110. And then Iran, USA. U.S. is an even money favorite. Iran plus 310. Draw plus 230. I'm taking the U.S. I'm such a homer, but I'm doing it. We're going to make the round of 16. I predicted it before the tournament too. So that would leave England with 7 points, U.S. with 5, Wales with 1, and Iran with 3. So what happens if U.S. draws against Iran? Then Iran makes it, right? But what if Wales beats England? And then that's like a 4-4-4. And now it just depend on goal differential. And I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah. So, U.S. But if Wales beats England and U.S. beats Iran, U.S. wins the group. But I brought up the crazy scenario. If Iran and Wales both win, then... Or, wait. Iran, USA draw, and then Wales beats England. But if Iran beats England and Wales... Or, I'm sorry, if Iran beats USA, that brings them to 6, and then Wales beats England, gets them to 4, and that would present some tricky scenario here as well. Let's hope that doesn't happen for the sake of our country. USA will go on to the round of 16. So, looking forward to that. All right, now I'm going to predict the college football playoff rankings. This is going to be an interesting one, considering that a lot has gone down over the past several weeks. So I think... So let's start at the top. Number 1, I think, is going to be the Michigan Wolverines. They knocked off Ohio State. That's better than any win Georgia has. Tennessee's kind of fallen off, even though they creamed Vandy. So I'm going to say Michigan will be 1. Georgia will drop to 2. Still really good resume. TCU will be 3rd. Moving up to 4th, I think, will be USC. 5th will be Ohio State. 6th will be Alabama. 7, I think Tennessee will move back up. I'm making a bold prediction here. Penn State will be 8. 9th, I'm going to predict Kansas State. So it would be 9-3 in the Big 12 title game. I think Washington will be 10, so it will be number 4 USC against number 10 Washington. LSU, I think, will drop to 11. That was such a terrible loss against Texas A&M. Clemson, I'm going to say, drops to 12. Oregon will be 13. Utah will stay at 14. Florida State moves up to 15. UCLA will move up to 16. Let's say Tulane moves up to 17. Notre Dame drops to 18. Oregon State moves up to 19. UCF moves up to 20. Carolina drops to 21. Texas will be 22. 23. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if this is a hard call. Wouldn't surprise me if Purdue cracks in the rankings. It wouldn't completely stun me at all if Purdue snuck in. I think Louisville drops. I think Cincinnati drops. NC State will be at 24. They'll be back in. And then 25. That's a tough one. I honestly won't be shocked if Mississippi State finds its way into the rankings because they just beat Ole Miss. So I'm going to say that Mississippi State finds its way at 25. All right, now I'm going to do my NFL power rankings. No particular theme of the week. I'm just going to go through thoughts and maybe throw out a couple predictions as we go through the list. All right, number 32 Houston Texans. They're the worst team in the league. Their Super Bowl is going to be on Sunday as they face the Browns and Deshaun Watson in Watson's first game as a Brown. 31 is the Los Angeles Rams. They're the second worst team in the league without Cooper Kupp. It's just the reality of the situation. I can't remember a worse season by a defending champion in my lifetime. Number 30 is Denver Broncos. They've had the season from hell. They probably regret making the move for Russell Wilson. Number 29 is the Chicago Bears. They kind of are who we thought they were. I understand that Justin Fields is hurt right now, which is brutal for them. But they've fallen off a cliff. Number 28 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't like this Jaguars team, really. Trevor Lawrence had his first good game in a while over the Ravens. They went for 2 for the win, which was awesome. Number 27 is the Atlanta Falcons. They've fallen off after a surprisingly decent start as well. They should just go to Desmond Ridder. Number 26 is the New Orleans Saints. This is the biggest feast or famine team in the league. I don't know why Jameis Winston isn't playing. And Dalton is just stale at this point. Number 25 is the Carolina Panthers. They still weirdly have a chance in the terrible NFC South. But that team is just so bad. Number 24 is the Arizona Cardinals. Probably should have beaten the Chargers the other day, but the Chargers went for 2 and the win. Number 23 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Out of the bottom 5. Kind of in the mix in the AFC wildcard picture. If Mike White turns into a pumpkin, Chargers have some more injuries. I mean, not inconceivable for Pittsburgh. Although that loss to the Bengals last week was brutal, or 2 weeks ago. Number 22 is the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers hurt now. They're also having a season from hell. They're out of the bottom 10, though, the power rankings. Number 21 is the Detroit Lions. Detroit beat Green Bay, so therefore I have them ahead of Green Bay. They've had some really good games of late and probably should have beaten the Bills on Thanksgiving. Number 20 is the Las Vegas Raiders. They've kind of come on a little bit. I mean, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're playing hard and are a good offensive team. Number 19 is the Indianapolis Colts. Probably could have won that game last night, but didn't. We'll talk about Jeff Saturday in news and notes. Number 18 is the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're 5-6. They're just brutal to watch. Tom Brady. One of my hottest takes that I'm going to say here is that Tom Brady is washed. I think I said that on our previous power rankings a few months ago, but I'm sticking with my gut. He's washed. And the reason why they came back against the Rams is because the Rams fell apart. Number 17 is the Cleveland Browns. They're this high because they're getting Deshaun back this week, so they're going to be treated like a good team going forward if they play well. 16 is the New England Patriots. Patriots are out of the bottom 16. They could have beaten the Vikes the other night on Thanksgiving, but they didn't. Number 15, the New York Football Giants. Boy, have they fallen. They're 7-4, but let's be real. They probably should be like 5-6 or 4-7. Brian Daboll has to be up there for Coach of the Year for me. He's just done a fabulous job. I know they've suffered a lot of injuries of late, which is why they've fallen off. But I have 2 takes for them. This team's not making the postseason. And number 2, I would not be shocked if they don't win a game the rest of the season. Because their schedule is brutal down the stretch. 2 games against the Commanders, 2 games against the Eagles, Vikings, and the Colts, who aren't that bad. So 6 games left. And where's the win? Indy? Maybe they beat the Commanders at home on Sunday. I mean, probably 9-8, but I don't think that's getting you to the playoffs. Unless if Seattle completely unravels defensively and Geno Smith turns into a pumpkin. Seattle's number 14. That was a terrible loss for them against Vegas. They're 6-5. So them and the Giants, I think, are similar teams in terms of, they're great stories, but they're coming back to earth. Seattle's more their defense. Giants, it's because they have so many injuries and their warts are starting to show offensively, and the quarterback is starting to become a weak link for them. And the question is, Seattle, when does their quarterback become a weak link? I think it's going to happen. Probably against San Francisco coming up. Because they looked, they made Geno look like a weak link there too. 13 is the Washington Commanders. They're 7-5. They're resurgent. They're playing great. They're favored against the Giants on Sunday. I don't know if I agree with that per se, even though I just, maybe I didn't put the kibosh on the Giants, but maybe I did a reverse kibosh on them by saying that they might not win a game the rest of the season. But the Commanders are playing great football and should be a playoff team. But if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be because of Taylor Heineke. Number 12 is the Los Angeles Chargers. Out of the top 10, they're 6-5. They've been, I think, the most disappointing team that was supposed to be a Super Bowl contender other than the Bucs. But good for them for going for 2 in the win last week. Number 11 is the New York Jets. Out of the top 10. Probably should be in the top 10, but I don't think they're as good as the other teams ahead of them in these rankings. A lot of talent, but the Zach Wilson thing was weird. Mike White, they had, 2 great games in his life, that game against the Bengals last year and a game against the garbage Bears. I'm not sold on Mike White, sorry. 10 is the Baltimore Ravens. They are 7-4, tied for first in the division. Blown a lot of games this year. The 4 losses all had leads in the fourth quarter. The Giant game, the Dolphin game, which I thought really was their worst loss of them all. The Jaguar game, and there was one other game that they had the big lead and blew. It'll come to my mind, but that's been their bugaboo this year. Like Lamar Jackson in that offense and John Harbaugh. The inability to close out games. Number 9 is the Tennessee Titans. Coming off the loss against the Bengals, but they're still a good team. They're going to win that division. And Mike Vrabel's been amazing. Number 8 is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're coming together at the right time. They're going to get Jamar Chase back and Joe Mixon back. Should be the favorites in that division. 7 is the San Francisco 49ers. This 49er team's coming together at the right time, too. Didn't look great against the Saints the other day. But they're a team that I think is in good shape. Number 6 is the Buffalo Bills, out of the top 5 because of Josh Allen's lingering injury. We'll see what happens with them. Number 5 is the Minnesota Vikings. Out of the top 4, it's probably because of that Dallas game. That was just a terrible loss for Minnesota 2 weeks ago, but they bounced back to beat the Pats. Number 4 is the Miami Dolphins. They are just so fun to watch. This is my favorite team to watch in the AFC this year from an entertainment standpoint. They move the ball around. Tyreek Hill's just been amazing. In the MVP conversation with Tua, obviously. Number 3 is the Dallas Cowboys. They've really come together since Dak Prescott came back. 8-3 on the season. They blew that Green Bay game, which was very fluky now looking back. I just think Aaron Rodgers had like a last dance kind of moment in that game, and maybe that's a game that the Cowboys, I know it might be bad if they don't win the division, but that loss, I just think was a little fluky. Number 2 is Philadelphia Eagles, coming off the Sunday night win against the Packers. Didn't cover, but whatever, that doesn't matter when it comes to these power rankings. They're the team to beat in the NFC in my mind. Shored up the defense with a couple of signings. We'll see what happens. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't look all that amazing against the Rams, but they're my number 1 right now. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's the MVP favorite for a reason, and he's doing a lot with less. And I think Andy Reid has to be up there for Coach of the Year as well for getting them to 8-2. All right, now I'm going to talk about the Masked Singer from the weekend. It was interesting. We'll start with Wednesday night's episode. It was Fright Night. 3 contestants. First was Sir Bugaboo. There was a red carpet, a movie reel. There was a phone with question marks. Talks about being great in pop culture. There was a pen and paper. He was thrown in a competition with names in the industry. There's a full moon in the package. He performed Devil with the Blue Dress On by Mitch Ryder in Detroit Wheels. The onstage clue. was a picture with Nicole with slime, and he said he's done something with Nicole. Scarecrow was next. There was a globe. There were some roller skates. There's a sign with an X. There was a Wes Craven sign, and she said, "See you in your nightmares, Ken," like referring to Ken Jeong. And she performed an Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band. The onstage clue was you're staring right in the face. And then last was Snowstorm. There's a speed dating banner again. There was a welcome sign. She performed Sweet But Psycho by Ava Max. And the onstage clue was a dangerous safe box. And says, keep monsters away. Obviously, we saw Snowstorm in the episode from 2 weeks ago. As well. First to go home was Scarecrow, who announced to bow out of the competition, which was odd. Super odd. My guess for this was Bette Midler because she had Bette's personality and she comes off like a witch and she portrays witches in some movies. Ken thought it was Parker Posey. Jenny said Glenn Close. Robin said Susan Sundrum. Ceradan. And Nicole said Jamie Lee Curtis. And who was it? Linda Blair. That was a stunner. Jenny said she's never been so stunned on the show. Obviously, Linda Blair, an actress. She was in a ton of movies. Night Patrol, Chain Heat. Hell Night. And she was the host of Scariest Places on Earth. And she had appearances on Pit Boss, so really fun get for the Masked Singer. And it was fun to see her on the Masked Singer. Battle Royale was Snowstorm against Sir Bugaboo. And the two contestants sang Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell. Snowstorm went first, Sir Bugaboo went second. Snowstorm moved on. And Sir Bugaboo goes home. I thought originally that this was Jimmy Kimmel because it talks about pop culture and whatnot based on the clues. And then when this person performed, I thought it was Danny Elfman of The Nightmare Before Christmas. And then at the very tail end, because of the phone with the question marks, who you're going to call, and then Slime, Ghostbusters, I thought this was Ray Parker Jr., who sings the Ghostbusters song. And Jenny guessed Ernie Hudson, which made me think of it as well. Robin said Keenan Ivory Wayne. Nicole said Randy Jackson, which would have been a fun get. And then Ken Jeong said Jordan Keenan. Who was it? I got it. It was Ray Parker Jr., singer of the Ghostbusters song. It was really fun to see Ray Parker Jr. on this show. Very excited that I was right. Robin guessed him in a previous season. But he comes on the show this year. So this season's just been incredible. And then Thanksgiving's episode was the semifinals. So Harp went first. There was the number one trophy. There was a bet set. And her family thinks she's filming something, but she said that her mom knows. She performed About Damn Time by Lizzo. The onstage clue was Oprah Winfrey. a picture of Oprah. I think this is Fantasia. I really do. I stuck between her and Jennifer Hudson, but I'm hearing like the raspiness of Fantasia. That makes me think it's her. Ken said Jennifer Hudson. Denny said Jordan Sparks. And Nicole said Fantasia and Amber Riley. Snowstorm went second. There was a live sign on the bet set, the Cinema Ticket Globe with Dream Killer. She performed Thinking of You by Katy Perry. The onstage clue was a balloon saying Squiggly in honor of Bob Saget. She said that Bob was the reason she did the show. I said Camila Cabello. Robin said Whitney Cumming. Jenny said Nikki Glazer. And Ken said Kristen Wiig. And then the Lambs went. They talked about having platinum class. They said that they had issues, but it was the best decision to go separate ways. There was a Friends Forever book. There was a ring in there. They said it won a few other awards, but it's been a while. And they performed Need You Now by Lady A. And the onstage glow was a reunion. And they said they were thankful to be singing together. I'm going to go with TLC here for the Lambs. Nicole said All Saints. Ken said the Spice Girls. And Robin said the Chicks and Wilson Phillips. And the final Battle Royale three-way. So we won't have a Battle Royale in the finale. The three contestants sang Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. Snowstorm went first. The Harp went second. And the Lambs went third. And who moves on? The Harp and the Lambs. So Snowstorm gets eliminated. So Snowstorm, my first impression guess was Nelly Furtado. Final guess, Camila Cabello. Robin said Whitney Cumming. Nicole went with Eliza Schlesinger. Ken said Kristen Wiig. And Jenny said Nikki Glazer. And indeed, Jenny was right. It was Nikki Glazer. Nikki Glazer, very big in the comedy. She's a stand-up comedian. She was the host of Not Safe with Nikki Glazer. And now she has a reality show, Welcome Home, Nikki Glazer. So, really fun to see her on The Masked Singer. She did a great job. And the finale is tomorrow, so that should be a lot of fun. All right, now we'll talk about Survivor from last week. There's now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left, but there are 8 on the episode. There are 2 challenges, a reward challenge and an immunity challenge. And before the reward challenge, they show Noelle and Owen talking about Sammy telling Carla about voting out James. The reward challenge, as the players spun on a metal frame to drag out a buoy past a marker. Then while dizzy, they ran a net obstacle and balance beam, collecting a sandbag along the way before attempting to land it on a disc atop a tall pole. And the first player to finish won an overnight stay at a sanctuary along with the feast and letters from home. What was awesome is that Noelle came from behind to win the reward. And her opponents she picked to join her at the sanctuary were Sammy, Jesse, and Owen. So obviously, Sammy discussed voting out Cassidy next. While at the camp, Cassidy tried to convince Cody and Gabler to knock out Noelle. Immunity challenge. The players had to handle with one hand to balance a table while using the other hand to build a house of cards high enough to reach a marker. The first player to complete their own tower won immunity. and the winner was Cassidy. Cassidy is a rising player on the show. So good for her. And then Gabler told Noelle that Cassidy had targeted her. And despite the scrambling, Jesse worked on ensuring the votes would be split between Carla and Sammy so that his alliance could pull off the blindside on Noelle. However, right before Tribal, Gabler urged Carla to take caution with the tight duo of Cody and Jesse calling the shots. And at council, it was a 5-2 vote to knock out Noelle. 5-2-1. As Cassidy, Cody, Gabler, Jesse, and Carla voted out Noelle. Sammy and Owen voted Carla. Noelle voted Sammy. So it's down to Sammy, Owen, Carla, Jesse, Gabler, Cody, and Cassidy. So we'll preview tomorrow night's show on tomorrow's podcast. All right, now I'll move on to news and notes for today. Brutal news for the Eagles. C.J. Gardner-Johnson out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney, and will have more tests to determine return timeline. That's not great for them. Jeff Saturday on the timeout call against the Steelers, I didn't feel like time was really of the essence. That's what happens when you're a rookie coach and go by analytics. Jesus. Paris Campbell honored Dwayne Haskins before the game, which was nice. Obviously, Haskins played for the Steelers. Najee Harris did not come back in last night's game because of an abdominal injury. Damian Harris out Thursday night with a thigh injury, considered week to week. Expected to miss some time. That's not great for New England. Elijah Mitchell out 4 to 6 weeks with the sprained MCL on his left knee, and he suffered the same injury on the opposite knee earlier in the year. Aaron Donald has an ankle sprain, and he's undergoing testing. The team will get more clarity tomorrow. Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase likely back against the Chiefs on Sunday, which is amazing. The leader right now in the Pro Bowl voting is wide receiver Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Chiefs decide Melvin Gordon after getting released by the Broncos. I don't know if I like that. I just think he's washed. So some coaching hires in college football. Auburn is hiring Hugh Freeze as he's leaving Liberty to go to Auburn. So Hugh Freeze back in the SEC West. That's a fun subplot. He obviously used to coach Ole Miss, and he did a great job at Ole Miss too. So, and he was fired from there because of off-field issues. So, I like this hire for Auburn. And Cade McNamara is leaving Michigan as he enters the portal as a grad transfer. Penn State lineman Olu Fashanu will return to school for 2023 season. That's not great for teams in need of offensive linemen in the draft, but it's great for Penn State as they're going to be in the mix next year in the Big Ten East along with Michigan and Ohio State. Baseball. The Yes Network is eyeing Derek Jeter and Don Mattingly for the booth. I don't think that's a great sign at all. If that story comes out and your best player is a free agent, and they probably are going to end up hiring these guys out of desperation if Judge leaves. And Yes had good ratings last year. This story came out because the Yankees might be afraid that Judge is leaving. That's not a great sign. Johnny Cueto has a new profile picture of him with Dusty Baker, which has people speculating whether he's going to go to Houston or back to the Reds. The The Mariners are eyeing Michael Conforto, who did not play last year. Miguel Cabrera confirms that next year will be his final season, so another legend will be retiring. Astros signed Jose Abreu. This was an absolute stunner to me, as he signed for 3 years. I don't see the money here. But is this a good sign or a bad sign regarding Justin Verlander then? So, brutal loss for the White Sox. He was the face of that franchise for a long time. And now he goes to Houston. So 3 years, $58.5 million for Jose Abreu with Houston, which is wild. So the contract's supposed to be worth $60 million. So 3 for $60, which isn't bad. Justin Verlander is meeting with the Dodgers, as he can be an option on a short-term deal. That would be wild if he went there. I think there's a chance he leaves. They go out and not overpay, but sign Jose Abreu, and you could argue overpay for Rafael Montero. So we'll see. Karl Anthony Towns helped off the court last night with the calf strain. Hopefully he'll be okay. Pascal Siakam came back against the Cavs after a 10-game absence. So there will be an ACC-SEC challenge in 2023-24, as it'll be the end of the ACC Big Ten challenge, which is sad. So maybe it'll be the Big Ten, Big 12 challenge, which would be very interesting, because obviously it's the SEC Big 12 and the ACC Big 10. So that would just make sense on paper. And now the AP poll for college basketball. Houston, Texas, Virginia, Arizona, Purdue. Purdue moves up 19 spots to 5. Baylor, Creighton, Connecticut, Kansas, Indiana. Tied for 11th is Arkansas and Alabama. Tennessee, Gonzaga, Auburn. That's through 15. So Gonzaga drops to 14 with 2 losses. 16 through 20, Illinois, Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, Michigan State. So Carolina dropped 17 spots to 18 with 2 losses. And 21 through 25, UCLA, Maryland, Iowa State, San Diego State, Ohio State. So Ohio State joins the rankings despite a loss. And others receiving votes: TCU, Iowa, Charleston, West Virginia, Mississippi State, Texas Tech, Michigan, UNLV, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Miami, Oklahoma, Missouri, St. John's, Kansas State, Virginia Tech, New Mexico. And dropping from the rankings, Texas Tech and Iowa. News coming down right now: Josh Jacobs will be limited this week due to a calf strain in hopes of playing week 13. And it was a very classy press conference for U.S. men's national team captain Tyler Adams, who responds to a question on racial discrimination and civil rights in America. Alrighty. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Now we're going to determine if best bet won or lost last night. But I know I took the Colts as another bet, but that lost. I only laid a quarter unit on the Colts. But we'll see here. No, best bet did not win, and it was Tulane minus 18.5. That was not the winner, obviously. So I'm going to lay a quarter unit for best bet. Go back to college basketball. And I'm going to take an underdog that I thought was a little nuts to be that much off an underdog. And there's a couple of those. in the sport. So I'm going to go with VMI getting the 6.5 against Presbyterian. Just because I just think that VMI could potentially win. If not, they lose by 3 or something like that. So give me Presbyterian or VMI getting 6.5 against Presbyterian is my best bet of the day. Okay, that's it for the show. It was a long show today. I'll be back tomorrow. Usual stuff. Masked Singer finale tomorrow as well. And maybe I'll do power rankings in another sport. Maybe the NBA. Because I want to get more into the NBA and NHL. Because we're due to talk about those sports. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.